Isn't that a wonderful sight? Look, you can now see signs that spring is approaching. The snowdrops have arrived. Yes, the snowdrops are now making an appearance in the garden. Isn't that lovely? So I'm getting very excited right now because the snowdrops are out. That means that springtime is also approaching, even though we do have a few more weeks to wait before spring arrives. The other thing arriving right now is English Addict. Here we go again. We are back together, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language. You know where it is. I know where it is. We all know where the heck it is. It is England. It's a busy one. We have a busy live stream today. So many things to do. First of all, what's happened to my picture? It's disappeared. Why? Where has it gone? Am I so horrible to look at that even my image will not show next to my name? Even my name isn't there. That's a good start, isn't it? Hi, everybody. This is Headline. That's me. That's my new name, by the way. And I live in England. No, seriously, my name is Mr. Duncan. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. I hope right now you have one of these on your face. If you don't, then maybe, perhaps, I can put one there for you. Here we go again. It is English Addict with Mr. Duncan. That's me. I like English. I love the English language. If you are learning English, if you are beginning your journey, or maybe you are already on your journey of discovery of the English language, then this is a really, really good place to be. I have to say, this is the best place in the whole wide world. It is the best place to be. We have a busy one today, lots of things to talk about. I suppose I should mention straight away, we do have the one, the only, yes, Mr. Steve will be with us at around about 2:30, and you may have heard the news already. Today is Mr. Steve's birthday. So we will be celebrating Steve's birthday. He will be here in the studio to tell us all about how it feels to be another year older. We might even tell you how old Mr. Steve is today. We might give you some clues about that. Also today, are you a person who follows rules? Rules. It's a great word. The rules of life. The rules of society. The rules that you have to follow, you must obey. We are talking all about those today as well. So you only have another 20 minutes to wait before Mr. Steve arrives. We had a lovely meal last night. We went to see some of our friends and we had a very nice Indian meal. I have one rule about a good Indian meal. You know you've had one if the Indian meal comes out within 10 hours. You know it's a good one. 5 hours, maybe not so good, but 10 hours. So if around 10 hours after eating an Indian meal, if you say goodbye to it, That for me is the sign of a very good Indian meal, and I have to say it was very nice indeed. A lot of people ask, Mr. Duncan, you have been doing this for a very long time, and it is true. Some people say maybe too long. Some people have said, maybe unfairly, they have said, Mr. Duncan, maybe it's time to hang up your dictionary and retire. My answer to that is no, never. Never. I will never retire. I will never stop doing this. I have a dream. Maybe one day I will drop dead on my live stream. I want to end my life. Not end my life, but at the end of my life I would like to still be doing this. Maybe during one of my live streams, you see. So perhaps during one of these I will say my final goodbye to existence. We will see what happens. But during my 18 years on YouTube, there have been some good things and some not so good things. A lot of people ask, Mr. Duncan, have you ever had any bad experiences whilst making your video lessons or maybe during your live streams? I have had a couple of really bad experiences. There was one time when I was filming a lesson all about the origins of the English language, and there was a guy who became very aggressive with me walking his dog, and he started shouting and swearing at me. He was using language, horrible words that I've never heard before, but I have used since. And he even attacked me. He didn't just attack me, he also attacked my equipment, my lovely camera as well. He tried to destroy it. So I have had some bad experiences, normally from other people, the general public. Sometimes, you may have noticed this, sometimes people can be annoying. Have you noticed that? How annoying people can be? I'm sure in your life you have met people who are annoying. I think so. Another bad thing that happened was when I tried to do a live stream whilst having food poisoning. That was not very good. Not a very good live stream. Probably my worst live stream that I've ever done was when I tried to do it whilst recovering from food poisoning. That was not a very good thing to do. And of course there have been many wonderful things that have happened during my 18 years here on YouTube. Lots of wonderful things have occurred. Of course, being here live with you is always a pleasure, never a chore. I have to say, I always love coming here to say hello every Sunday and Wednesday. As I mentioned, it is Mr. Steve's birthday, so we will be celebrating somehow. I'm not sure how. We will be celebrating Mr. Steve reaching another year going around the sun. Or maybe the sun going around the earth, depending on which one you believe in, I suppose. Hello to the live chat. We have the live chat here. I wonder who was first on this special Mr. Steve's birthday live stream. I wonder who is first. Oh, now I have to say, I did offer a kiss on Friday to whoever was first on the live stream. Today I'm not going to do that because I've already noticed that once again the champion is there. Lewis, not Lewis. He's coming up in a moment. It's actually Vitas. Yeah. Vitas. I'm so excited today. I jumped out of bed with joy. And then joy left. And then I came to prepare my live stream. I'm in a very strange mood. If it is your first time watching this, can I just say, I hope you have a good sense of humour. Because some people don't get it. They don't get my humour. They don't get my jokes. They think sometimes I am being serious when I'm not. Maybe I say something that is humorous. Some people might not think so. So hello to the live chat. Vitas is first. Who else is here? Let's have a look. Wow, so many people are already chatting. We also have Beatrice. Hello to Beatrice. It's nice to see you here again on the live chat. Also, I've mentioned him already, but I'm going to mention him again. Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you back again. And of course, we are all meeting up. We will be meeting up. There will be me, Beatrice, maybe, I don't know, maybe you, if you want to join us. On the 1st of June this year, we are having the big rendezvous, and already there are quite a few people on my list meeting up face to face. Imagine that. So we are meeting up on the 1st of June with our Paris rendezvous. If you are interested in getting in touch, maybe you are perhaps interested in meeting up face to face. Oh, you can send me an email to this address to say, Mr. Duncan, I am interested in joining you with your Paris rendezvous on the 1st of June this year. I hope to see you then. And there is the email address. I am often criticised for not showing the email address. So there it is. That is my email. If you want to write to me about anything. And of course, we have the live chat, which is very busy. Monteiga. I hope I pronounced your, or Igia. Hello to Monte. Good afternoon, Mr. Duncan. Nice to see you here. Thank you for joining me today, Monte. How are you and where are you? I'm always interested to find out where you are watching in the world. Who else is here? Dunyo is here. Hello, Dunyo. I don't recognise your name. Is it your first time? If it is your first time, please say hello. Also, we have Satchin. Hello, Satchin. Nice to see you here. Hamza Benajiba is here as well. Thank you very much for joining, for spending some of your Sunday here with me. I do appreciate it. Rosa is here, sending a big happy birthday to Mr. Steve. Well, guess what? You will have the chance to send a birthday greeting to Mr. Steve for real, in real time, when he joins us at around about 2:30. Who else is here? Rohith is here. Hello to you as well. Also, we have Duk An Vu Lee, who is watching in Vietnam. Hello to you as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Christina is here as well. Christina, it's lovely to see you back. Thank you very much for joining in. Who else is here? Nitin. Hello, Nitin, or Nithin, who says, it is now summertime in India. All I can say is whenever I hear anyone say summertime in India, I assume it's hot, very hot. However, if you say summertime in England, most people will assume that it's raining. Although at the moment it is not summer, I am waiting patiently. Yesterday, Mr. Steve and myself, we were discussing winter. The winter we are experiencing right now. Can I just say, and I don't know why, but this has been a very long, miserable winter. Grey, damp, cold. We did have some snow, but then it went away very quickly. It's been very wet, very damp. The sky has been grey. There has been very little sunshine. And I have to say, it has been a rather gloomy winter. So we are both waiting patiently for the arrival of springtime. And that is the reason why I was so excited this morning when I saw the lovely snowdrops coming out. There it is right now. Looking in the garden, you can see these are the only flowers that are growing in the garden at the moment. Lovely snowdrops. They normally come up during the end of January or sometimes early February. And there was a pigeon. Did you see the pigeon then? Even the pigeon is excited because spring is coming. They get very excited for various reasons during springtime. Pigeons become a little bit, what's the word? They are all looking for love, as most of us do at some point in our lives. Hello also Kiet. Hello Kiet. Very nice to see you here as well. I think maybe you are also watching in Vietnam. You also have a question for me. Hello Mr. Duncan, do you have TikTok? I don't. I don't have a TikTok account. A lot of people keep saying, Mr. Duncan, you should. You should be there because you are hip, you are trendy, you are cool, you belong on TikTok. So maybe I will. Maybe one day, maybe I will decide to go on there and do maybe a 10-second or 20-second video. The only problem is, if you are teaching a certain subject, it is very hard to teach anything in just a few seconds. It is very hard to do it. So I always say you need at least 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to actually teach a simple thing. Anything shorter than 1 minute, I think it's very hard to actually convey or put across the information. So I have to say, I do think it is very difficult if you are on one of these social media platforms where the videos are only a few seconds long. I think it is very hard to teach things because sometimes you have to give a lot of information. You have to explain something before you start teaching it. So I don't have TikTok. I do have Instagram. A lot of people are probably surprised, including me, to find out that I am on Instagram. I am on there. And there are some English lessons on there as well. Who else is here? I don't want to forget anyone. Maruzio is here as well. I wonder if we will be seeing you in June. Only time will tell. I like that expression, by the way. Whenever we say only time will tell, means sometimes you have to wait to find out what will happen in the future, maybe something you are expecting to happen in the future. We often say, I'm not sure if he will be there or not. Only time will tell. Time will reveal what will happen next. I think it's a very good expression. Hello, Maria. I'm sorry, but I can't come because I have a holiday from work. Also, it is my oldest son's birthday on the 1st of June. Maria, it's okay. It's okay. If you have something else to do, please, family. Family comes first. Definitely. So I agree with you. Of course, the place you should be is with your family. So I do agree. Thank you, Maria, for letting me know anyway. Who else is here? Huda is here as well, although his message has disappeared. Who else is here? Silver is here. Hello, Silver. Of course, I know that you have become one of my very regular viewers. So hello, Silver, and thank you for joining me again. Paulo. Hello, Paulo. Paulo Oliveira. Hello. I hope everything is all right. In the city of Leiria, where I live, the weather is quite overcast and it is raining occasionally. Yeah, we have had a really strange winter. I don't know why, but winter here in England this year has been really long and miserable. Normally, winter is okay. It's not too bad, as long as it doesn't get too cold, of course. But yeah, it's been horrible. I can't wait until spring arrives. So as soon as February leaves, we normally have the more pleasant weather. With March comes nice weather, pleasant weather, normally. But as I said earlier, it is no guarantee because we live in England. And when most people think of England, there are two things they think about. They think about our terrible teeth and rain. Two rather negative things to be associated with, I have to say. Goodness me, I've just noticed we are approaching 2:30 already. Today's live stream is going quickly. I hope you will stay with me because we have Mr. Steve coming up in a few moments. It is his birthday today. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but today, right now. It is Steve's birthday and he will be joining us in a few moments from now. So I hope you will join us for the rest of today's live stream. English Addict is with you and we have lots of things to talk about. So please don't go away. Mr. Steve will be with us in a couple of moments from now.
way now.
We are live today. I can't believe already we are halfway through, over halfway through February. Isn't it incredible? English Addicts is with you today. It is, of course, myself, Mr. Duncan, and yes, he is here. The birthday boy himself. He is here with us live. I have to say I feel honoured. What about you? I feel honoured to have him here. It is, of course, the one, the only, Mr. Steve.
Insert the gas lift into the base. Put the gas lift into the gas lift cover.
Mm-hmm. What? What? What are you?
Hello, wonderful, beautiful viewers from across the globe. You've caught me assembling something.
Yes.
Assembling something.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Steve?
I'm working on my birthday, Mr. Duncan. This is a gift
Oh.
from somebody. We
Was it-
won't say who.
Was it somebody nice?
Well, people say that person is.
Was it a very nice, generous person?
Yes, I would have to say yes. Except I've got to do all the hard work and put it together. And that's why I'm reading these assembly instructions.
Mm.
I won't give away what it is. Maybe you can guess.
What? But the big question has to be, Steve, why has someone given you something today? Why?
Well, I don't know, really. What's going on today, Mr. Duncan? I really don't. Something's happening. I'm not quite sure what. It's all a bit of a daze.
Is it?
I'm in a bit of a daze. Of course, it's my birthday. And what better place to spend my birthday than with all my friends across the globe?
Yes, why not? And can I first of all, Steve, before we go any further, using my lovely video editing techniques, can I wish you, Mr. Steve, right now, happy birthday. It is, and I'm sure a lot of people will be trying to guess how old Mr. Steve is today. So many happy returns to Mr. Steve as you celebrate another birthday. Now, we're not going to tell you how old Mr. Steve is. So Steve, you're going to give a clue, I believe.
There is a certain Beatles song from the 1960s.
Yes.
That makes a mention of a birthday and somebody's age.
I know which one it is. Is it The Long and Winding Road? Because that's what it feels like when you get to a certain age. It feels like you're on a long and winding road.
No, Mr. Duncan, it is not that.
Is it Maxwell's Silver Hammer?
No, it's not Hey Jude.
Is it
either?
Is it?
Or either?
Is it He Loves Me, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah?
Could be. Could be.
Is it Hard Day's Night?
I've had plenty of them, Mr. Duncan.
It's been a hard day's night.
So yes, there is a clue in a Beatles song.
Steve, I'm doing something. Listen to what I'm saying.
I was waiting for people to
Yeah.
make their guess.
Okay, I was going to do something, Steve. Well, whilst people are making their guess, just take a deep breath, because you have to be careful now at your age. You have to be careful. You're not as young as you were yesterday. It's been a hard day's night. I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log.
I thought it was dog. Sleeping like a dog. Is
I
it
did.
log?
No, sleeping like a log, working like a dog. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, so people are asking, what is my age? Some people do know.
Yes.
The clue, as we have said, is in a Beatles song.
Yes. Of course, maybe some people don't know who the Beatles are. I can tell you now, they were a group who had some big hits in the 1960s, and then they decided to completely split up, and they all went off in their own directions. Some of them had a lot of success, namely Paul McCartney. He had a lot of success on his own and with his group Wings. And then we had George Harrison. George Harrison. Did you know that George Harrison had more success than any other member of the Beatles?
Fascinating.
With one of his songs. Do you know the song, Steve? My Sweet Lord?
Alessandra's got it. Alessandra's got it. Well done, Alessandra.
Steve is taking no notice of me today.
I don't have to, because it's my birthday.
Okay.
I can do whatever I want today, and you cannot complain.
So
That's the rules of a birthday, isn't it?
Yes.
The birthday person, in this case the birthday boy, although judging by my age you would not describe me as a boy.
Boy?
Can just do anything today. You have to wait on me hand and foot, Mr. Duncan.
Well, I have been doing that.
If you wait on somebody hand and foot, it means you do anything that they want for you on that day. That is your right as the birthday person, to have somebody that you know basically wait on you hand and foot.
Yes. Of course, waiting is to serve. So you are waiting for that person to ask you to do something. You wait on them. You are doing things that they request. But of course, as Meatloaf once said, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Well, you'll have to do something. When I'm 64, yes. But actually, it's the reverse of that. See, that's the trick. It's actually 46.
You wish.
Is the real age.
You wish.
It's not 64 at all. It is 46. That's what I'm thinking of. That's how I feel inside.
So are you giving the answer?
Well, Alessandra has got the answer. So Alessandra gets a special kiss.
Well, we've had a lot of answers, though, come through.
Yeah, they've all been wrong, apart from Alessandra.
No, there was another one, I'm sure there was. Anyway, it's 64, for all of those wondering. Now, we were having a conversation yesterday about that particular age, 64. Now, when I was a little boy, I used to think that being in your 60s was old. I used to think it was really old. And the reason is because my grandparents, so when I was a little boy, very small, very tiny, very shallow, and I used to think that my grandparents were really, really old, but they were only in their 60s.
They were young.
But it's strange. But it's that how when you're young, anyone over the age of 20, you just naturally assume they are really, really old. So there you go. I think that covers everything there.
Yes. Well, Christine has put it nicely. It's not the years that count in life. It is the life you put into those years. Very true.
Yes, as long as you don't get hit by a bus.
And there was a nice statistic that I saw yesterday on the television, which is talking about how long people live. And it's going to increase. I think at the moment something like 5% of people 4 point something percent of people.
4 point something.
I think it's 4.5, 4.6%.
That's not very accurate.
Well, I can't remember exactly.
Oh, I see.
Will reach the age of 100.
Hmm.
And in this country, if you reach the age of 100, you receive a special telegram from the monarch.
Yes.
At the moment, of course, that's King Charles.
It used to be the Queen.
It was the Queen, now it's King Charles. You get a special telegram in the UK if you reach the age of 100. So around 4.6%, I think, at the moment, will reach that age in the UK. But within the next, I think, 20 or 30 years, it's going to be 10%.
Wow.
Will reach 100.
Well, I have a feeling, Steve, we won't have to worry about that in 30 years' time. Maybe you will be the lucky one, Steve. Maybe I will. Maybe neither of us. Maybe neither of us will be the lucky ones. But yes, it is interesting though, isn't it? I think it is an interesting thing that more people are living to what we describe as a ripe old age. I think that's a great expression, by the way.
A ripe old age, is it sort of 80s, 90s, really?
Yes. But 100 is a ripe old age.
Oh, that would be a ripe old age, yes.
Yeah, it's very ripe.
It means you're rotting,
Maybe
like a piece of ripe fruit.
Maybe too ripe. No, ripe is not negative. How can a ripe age means you're perfect, you're succulent, you are juicy?
Hamza's birthday, by the way, Hamza, hello Hamza, says that their birthday is on the 14th of August. Well, that's only 2 days after Mr. Duncan's birthday.
Because my birthday is on the 12th of August.
So, yes, talking of birthdays. By the way, can you guess what this is?
Can you guess what this is?
This is part of something.
Yes.
Can you guess what it comes off?
This is what
And that's a clue as to what Mr. Duncan has bought me for my birthday.
So that is part of the gift that I've given to Mr. Steve. But can you guess what it is?
So, yeah, can you guess? First person that does, I will blow a kiss to.
Ugh.
So you see, I'm not just handing out kisses to Alessandra, who's also given me one back. So thank you for that.
The second prize is 2 kisses.
Yes. So yeah, if you can guess what that comes from, then you will. You'll get it. Well, if you come to Paris, you'll get an even bigger kiss.
Yes.
You'll get a real one.
Well, because that's what they do in France. Everyone greets each other with a big, wet kiss on each cheek, and sometimes on the mouth, and maybe even a little bit of tongue.
And talking about people living a long time in Europe, I think the most people the people that live the longest, I think, it's in Italy.
Oh, okay.
I was reading. It's all it's the nice, relaxed lifestyle, the olive oil, and the love.
Really?
I think yes. I don't know. I think, but anyway, I think it is Italy that certainly has some of the record.
So, but if you go to places like Greece as well, I remember when we went to Greece many years ago, Steve, you would see lots of elderly people. When I say elderly, I mean really, really old, in their 90s or even older than that. I think maybe some of them were 200 years old. Some of them, they looked like it anyway.
Thank you, Maurizio. Thank you, Maurizio, and nice of you to pop in today. Have a nice rest of your day as well.
So Mr. Steve is another year older. If you want to send a greeting, now is the time, because he is here in the studio, and we've had some really interesting gifts sent to us. Now, you will see in a moment that people know us very well. They know what we like. And when I'm talking about the things we like, I'm of course talking about food. And here is one gift that we received. Lots and lots of bars of chocolate. Of course, other brands of chocolate are available, so not just Cadbury, but others as well.
I think yes, Cadbury's, we call it chocolate here in the UK. It's a very popular brand. In other countries like Belgium, they do not count Cadbury's as chocolate.
But we are not here to criticise Cadbury, because maybe they want to send some more chocolate to us. Maybe they can send some. So this was a gift that we received last night from our lovely friends up north. We went to see them, and this is what they gave, one of the things. So this was actually, I think this was given last night as a gift. And also Mr. Steve received something from his sister. Now this is an interesting story. Steve will explain this story, because one of the things you enjoy doing, Steve, well, there are a few things, but most of them we can't mention. But one of the things Mr. Steve enjoys doing, especially when the weather is nice, is
gardening.
Mr. Steve loves going in the garden. You love spending time looking after your plants and your trees and your grass. But of course, sometimes it can be dangerous, can't it?
Well, yes, you might get a thorn in your thumb. You might get, and then you might get an injury. You don't want soil to get in there, because you don't want to get nasty bugs in there, particularly tetanus. That's the one that gardeners worry about, getting tetanus, particularly from the spores of the tetanus organism are in soil throughout the world. And if you haven't had injections, vaccinations against tetanus, which most of us do as a child,
yes. Anyway,
then
we seem to be straying from.
I'm just saying, and then you can get that into like a thorn from a rose bush, and then in gets the tetanus, and then it's not a nice outcome.
No.
So you need to protect your hands against injury when you're in.
Yes.
Lots of many cases of retired people
yes,
dying of tetanus when they take up gardening, because they were quite elderly and they never had their tetanus jabs when they were younger. So you've got to be very careful as a gardener that you don't get that. But apart from getting bad backs and maybe putting a fork through your foot,
okay,
you can get lots of injuries climbing, lopping branches, lots of equipment that can make you injure you. You need to put goggles on, because you might get bits in your eyes.
Okay, Steve. Anyway, we seem to be we have now strayed away so far from what I was trying to talk about, which is Mr. Steve's birthday. Mr. Steve,
Yes.
Your sister brought some lovely things for you. She gave these to us last week because they visited. So would you like? Well, I've got them here. Here they are. Look, some gloves for working in the garden. Look at that. They're quite nice.
They're
and
beautiful gloves.
They look strong. They look quite tough. They look robust. There is a slight problem, though.
We haven't told my sister yet. I will tell her later.
No, don't worry. She's not watching.
Got to break this to her very gently. But those gloves do not fit my hands.
There is no way on earth these gloves are going to fit.
There's no way on earth.
No way.
They're going to fit my big, chunky hands.
Mr. Steve has hands like his fingers are like bananas, and there is no way on earth. It's a bit like that guy who had to stand trial years and years ago in the 1990s, O.J. Simpson. It's a bit like that. So Steve had to put the glove on this morning, and there is no way he could get his hand into these very small holes because his hands are...
I couldn't even get my hand through the wrist part of it.
That's it, through there.
It says large on them, but I think it's large ladies.
Yes.
They are not big enough. And anyway, I tend to wear in the garden. I will very tactfully...
We do seem rather ungrateful.
I'm not ungrateful at all, because it's a lovely thought. And I will get my sister also gave me a lovely plant. It's a nice gift, because my sister bought me a plant to put in the garden and the gardening gloves to go with it. So that's a very, very nice gift. The only issue is I'm going to have to be very tactful. Thank you very much, dearest sister, for your lovely, thoughtful gift, which it was and is. But can you just get me some bigger? Can we exchange them
Yeah.
for some larger gardening gloves?
Yes.
Because
Or now you know what they can do nowadays, Steve, with modern science. Maybe we can keep the gloves, and maybe Mr. Steve can have some surgery on his hands. Maybe remove one of the fingers and make the hand much smaller. I know what you're going to say, Steve. You're going to say, Mr. Duncan, but there will be one finger that will be empty. Well, maybe you can just sew that to the glove.
silly.
So no, I think this is a good idea, because then your sister will not be upset, she will not be disappointed, and all you have to do is have a finger removed from both of your hands, and they can then you'll.
Then
be
I
able
wouldn't
to,
be able to garden, Mr. Duncan. That's a very, very silly idea.
Really.
How could I garden with 2 fingers missing? I'm not going to be able to grip anything.
So are you telling me it would be easier to just take them to the shop and exchange them?
Well, here's a predicament. A predicament.
Okay.
A predicament.
What is a predicament?
It's it is something that you find difficult to resolve.
Yeah.
A predicament is you've got something that you need to do or say, and you don't know what the outcome might be, and you're not sure the best way to go about it. Would that be right, Mr. Duncan?
A predicament is a complicated situation that you've got to somehow make your way through.
Solve it.
Yes. So a predicament, a difficult situation.
So my
We
predicament.
can sometimes say sticky. You are in a sticky situation.
A predicament. So my predicament is that my sister has very kindly and thoughtfully purchased for me for my birthday this lovely plant, which I'll show you in the break, after the break, and because it's quite a special plant, and she's given me some gardening gloves to obviously put them into the garden, but they're too small. So how
worse.
do I say to my sister, what would you do in that situation if somebody bought you a gift, and I know I'm going to be speaking to my sister later? Do I lie and say, this is the predicament, because I don't want to upset my sister? Do I lie and say, oh, they're wonderful, absolutely perfect gift, thank you very much indeed?
Well,
I would know by saying that my sister is never likely to ever see me in the garden with them on, because we live a long way away.
Yes.
So she would never know that I was lying.
Yes.
It would be a white lie.
Yes.
Do I say, oh, they're lovely, thank you ever so much, and then maybe give them to a neighbour? I couldn't do that. Or do I say, thank you very much for your gift, unfortunately the gloves are too small, so when I see you again in 2 months' time, you're going to have to exchange them for me. I think I will have to do that. I think my sister is grown up enough, she's adult enough to be able to take that and not get upset.
Yeah. I think
that is
it's reasonable. It's a reasonable thing. So I doubt your sister will be watching. So you could still keep it a secret, by the way, because there is no way on earth that your sister ever watches any of these. Nobody we know in real life ever watches this, even though they sometimes say they will. But we know that they don't. We know.
Christina says yes. I need to be honest. And my sister, she won't be upset. She'll laugh about it because it says large on it, but I think they're women's gloves, and it's a large for a lady. And what my sister doesn't know, that I in the garden I actually wear welding gloves.
Yeah, they actually do a 10. So this one is 9, large, but they actually do 10, which is XL.
Even
extra
that's
large.
not going to be big enough for me, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
I wear welding gloves in the garden. You know, welders that are fusing metal together with a big bright light, a welder. I wear welder's gloves in the garden because they're so thick, no thorns can possibly get through them.
You know what? I've always wanted, I know this is off topic, but I've always wanted to weld something, because I don't know why, it looks so much fun. It's something that's quite satisfying. So maybe a person who has to weld two pieces of metal together. And when I see people doing it, I always think that looks quite fun. It must be very satisfying to take two pieces of metal, and then you get that really bright flame that you can't look at, because if you look at it, your eyes will literally burn out of your sockets, and they fall out like that guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So arc, as in arc welding. Oh, Mr. Duncan, very clever. Very clever. Very clever. So I've always wanted to try welding.
Maybe we could do it live one day.
Yeah.
So, yes, it was a surprise, Christina. That was if my sister had asked me my hand size, which I don't know anyway. It's just a large man size.
Huge.
So, yes. So I've got to be I've got to use tact.
Yes.
So the predicament, you know what the predicament is, and I've got to use tact in the way that I communicate this information to my sister, that the gloves are too small. You wouldn't just say, now, if I was being untactful, not thinking about how my sister might react,
if you were untactful, you would just throw them away like this.
Well, I would say to my sister,
you say, I don't want them.
Thanks a lot. They're too small.
I don't want them. Take them back. They're rubbish.
Oh, no, untactful would be thanks. Oh, yeah, thanks, but they're no good. I can't use them. They're too small.
Yeah, that's it.
That would upset my sister. So I've got to be tactful. I'm going to say, Janice, thank you very much for the gift.
Yes,
it's ever so nice. I would love to use them in the garden.
Yeah. You could say it in a nice way. You could say...
That's what I mean. I'm going to use tact.
No, I'm just trying to do...
In a nice way.
Okay, Steve.
I was just going to give you an example then.
Oh, please give me an example.
Yes. I was just working up to that. Thank you, dearest sister, for your lovely gift. And I do need a new pair of gardening gloves very badly, so it was a wonderful gift. Just one little issue. Is there any chance you could? I don't want to ruin them or damage them. Can you please exchange them for a larger size, and then they would be the perfect birthday gift for me.
Yes, they are great gloves, but they don't fit my giant, big Prince Charles fingers.
Anne Zonic has hello, Anne Zonic. I saw you earlier, and welcome to you. Has given you a nice donation.
Oh, we have a super chat. Hello.
Chat.
Oh, thank you, Anne Zonic. That's very kind of you for your lovely donation. For I think that might be for Mr. Steve, though. Maybe it's not for me.
Oh, is it for me, Mr. Duncan? You've got to give me the money.
Well, I will. I can't give it you now.
By the way, the answer to this question is it's not a fan. It is actually, a number of you got this correct, it is the base of a chair. In this case, it's an office chair, and that's the base. There will be casters coming out of here with wheels on. That's for me to sit upstairs in my little office room, as I call it. There'll be the chair will be on top of here. Because it's broken. I've broken my other office chair. It's
broken. It makes a terrible noise when Mr. Steve moves around. So I thought it would be the perfect gift for Mr. Steve's birthday to get him a lovely chair.
A very thoughtful gift.
Yes, very thoughtful. I put a lot of thought into that, and I thought, I am sick and tired of hearing that noise of Mr. Steve's chair. So I'm going to get him a new one. And then not only will Mr. Steve have a nice, comfortable chair, but also I don't have to hear that horrible sound every time Steve moves around. So I hope... Are you going to build it today?
I am indeed, Mr. Duncan. I'm going to build it today. And I shall be swinging around and round and round later, because I've had that chair up in my little office room, as I call it, for... probably about 15 years, more than that.
It's an old chair.
It's an old chair, and it's all breaking. It all moves around too much.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to get at least 10 good years out of this chair.
So later on, Steve will be going around and around in circles, So there's no change when you think about it. Nothing new.
So well done to those who got it correct.
Yes, it is a new office chair for Mr. Steve when he's
And I'm working.
when he's busy deleting his browser history.
Mr. Duncan, of course, wants me to retire. But now I've got this new office chair, I think I'm just going to have to carry on working for a lot longer, aren't I? That's what you're actually saying to me, aren't you, Mr. Duncan?
Well, what I'm saying is sometimes it's nice to do other things rather than just go to work. You have been working for over 40 years, Mr.
That is
Steve.
true. That is true.
You deserve a rest.
I deserve a rest, and yes, exactly. You are right, actually.
Mm.
And I can dedicate more of my time to helping you in the English Addict YouTube channel.
I think help is a strong word.
Yes, very comfortable for the back.
It is.
And also for other parts of your body.
Okay. I think we will leave it at that. It's 3:00, everyone.
Enough about me.
It's 3:00, Steve. Steve, it's 3:00. I don't know. Why am I so excited about the fact that it's 3:00?
Because it means you've still got 1 hour in which to teach people a bit of English.
We have another hour of this. Can you believe it? So don't go away because we have lots of things to come. We are talking about a very serious subject today, Mr. Steve.
Serious?
Also, we will be testing Mr. Steve as well, because normally Steve is testing me. He can be a very testing person. But today we will be testing Mr. Steve on his knowledge of a certain thing, and we are looking at the subject of rules. Rules. The things you have to do, the things you must do. You must do those things in a certain way. You must follow the rules. So that is what we are talking about today. A lot of people have been mentioning the cows in that lovely video of Mr. Steve with the very excited cow. And I thought it would be nice to show another video featuring the cows. And then after that, we are back with the birthday boy himself. Mr. Steve will still be here. Take a break, have a quick drink, maybe light a cigarette, maybe open a window and scream at the top of your voice. It's up to you, really. So stay with us. English Addict will be right back. I know a lot of people like looking at the cows. We are hoping this year that there will be maybe cows, maybe sheep at the back of the house. We will have to wait and see. English Addict is with you today. We are live, not only myself, but Mr. Steve freshening himself up there.
I thought I had a few more seconds there.
You were like a cat. That's what cats do. They do that with their face to refresh themselves. And Mr. Steve is like a cat. He's like a cat in many ways. He likes to sleep on the floor, and also he scratches the furniture. And quite often, he will give you a nasty scratch.
Yes, and I poop into a tray.
Yes, that is true.
By the way, just to show you all that I'm not ungrateful for my sister buying me gardening gloves that are far too small. This is what my sister also bought me for my birthday.
Isn't that lovely? What is it?
It's a plant.
I know it's a plant.
It's a special kind of plant that you put outdoors in the garden. Has these wonderful flowers and very sort of hard, sort of spiky leaves that you can actually. They're quite actually. You could get injured on them.
What is it? What is it called?
It's called a Helleborus. A Helleborus. Helleborus.
Yeah.
A Helleborus. There's lots of different colours of these. You can get pink. They're quite expensive, but they've got these lovely flowers. This one's white flowers. This particular variety is called. Blimey, I need glasses, Mr. Duncan.
You do? Well, that's because you're old. You're 64 now.
It's called Ice in Roses White.
Oh, I see.
It's not a rose, it's a Helleborus. But I think it's beautiful.
I think that might be your new nickname, by the way. I think I will call you Mr. Helleborus from now on.
Very unusual to have a white flower with a green centre.
Yes, it is unusual.
And eventually, these petals all turn green.
Yes.
And it is unusual in a plant because petals normally fall off, but these petals turn into leaves later on and go green for photosynthesis.
So it's a very unusual plant.
A hardy plant. A hardy plant means Hardy. It can withstand different temperatures, hot and cold, and they flower at this time of the year as we're coming out of winter. But it's a beautiful plant. And see, that was a good choice by my sister because I used to have one in the garden and it died.
So the plant is a very good choice. The only problem is we're going to get the gloves changed for a much larger size. I personally don't think there will be anything in Mr. Steve's size because his hands are absolutely huge. If you've ever seen The Incredible Hulk, Steve's hands are like The Incredible Hulk.
I can crush skulls with my hands.
Oh, okay.
I can crush skulls.
That's a delightful image. So
I take after my father.
So I don't want anyone to misunderstand. They might think, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve, you are so ungrateful. But we're not, because we have a lovely plant that Mr. Steve will put in the garden. He will take care of it, and then it will die, of course, because they normally do.
Lewis says it should last 12 years. Maybe that's why the other one died off. Maybe it was getting on a bit in life.
So we're having a second try.
Yeah, and wait for next spring. I think it will flower. There's lots of flowers to come out. So I'll put it in the garden and in a nice spot.
Beatrice asks, does it like the harsh weather?
Yes, they can withstand the frost. I don't think they like the heat too much. I think they'd like to be sort of more... I might be wrong. Someone can look this up. Maybe they like sort of wetter, more shady conditions. I don't know. looking at those leaves. I'm going to look it up so that I put it in a place in the garden that I can see and that will withstand. I'll be in the right spot in terms of what it needs as a plant. I'm going to look it up. What do Helleborus need? Helleborus plants. What conditions do they like?
Yes. So we're hoping this time, we're keeping our fingers crossed that this one does not turn into mulch.
But obviously I can't put it in until I get the new gloves from my sister.
Yes.
I think those gloves that my sister got are for ladies.
Yes.
They're not for men.
Yes, a dainty lady. Well, sometimes I have to say, Mr. Steve, in certain light, you can be mistaken for a dainty lady. I'm sure it's been said to you before.
Never.
Oh, okay. So we have lots of nice things to eat. Our friends that we visited last night also gave us a lovely big chocolate cake.
Oh.
We're not sure if we will eat that. We might actually give it away because we have so much stuff. And of course, on Friday, it was Valentine's Day. And Steve, you went a bit crazy and you bought lots and lots of chocolate and sweet things. So if I said that we have a lot of sweet things in the house, I would not be exaggerating. And now we also have these as well.
I might share the chocolate cake with friends on Tuesday. I'm going to see a group of friends on Tuesday, and I think I will take the chocolate cake along, and they can celebrate it. We can all celebrate together. That's what I'm going to do.
I am a simple man. You may have noticed.
That's true.
And I take the basic pleasures of life, and they mean so much to me. And one of those basic pleasures is just eating something nice. I do. I like food very much. Sometimes I eat too much of it. Sometimes I don't eat enough as well. So two things that happen sometimes. But we will see what happens there. Mr. Steve is celebrating his birthday today, and I thought we would have a little quiz.
Oh.
For Mr. Steve. I'm going to be asking Mr. Steve, that's you over there, that's him. So for those wondering who that strange man is, that is Mr. Steve. That's who we often call him that. But I think also maybe from now on we will call him Mr. Helleborus as well. Because he's sweet. He comes out in the summer and he sways in the breeze with a beautiful glow that says, "Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Steve, and it's my birthday today."
What's the quiz then, Mr. Duncan?
That's coming up in a moment. We are talking about... Do you want to know what we're talking about today, Mr. Steve?
You did say earlier, but I can't remember.
Oh, good. We're talking about memory. No.
Memories?
No. That's a joke. We are talking about rules. The rules you must follow. And when you think about it, when you think about everything that exists in society these days, there seem to be rules. Some people say, of course, there are too many rules. So we are looking at that subject right now, not later on. We're doing it right now. There it is, look, on the screen. So quite often you have to follow the rules. We are looking at that subject today. When we think about rules, what is the most basic way of talking about rules, describing them? When we describe rules, we are stating fixed instructions that must be followed or obeyed. And I do like that word, to obey something. What does that mean, Steve? If you obey something...
If you obey your parents, you do as they say. You do... If the rule says to do something, you do it. You obey the rule. It means you carry out the instruction. You don't disobey. You don't go against what the rule is saying. You follow the rule. Even though that rule, because there are rules and then there are laws.
Yes, we
will be
coming
on to that, right?
So basically, obey is to follow, to do what you are told in that particular situation. Even when you get married, Steve, when you marry someone, what is the vow that you have to take? What is it? There's one vow, and that is
you will be true to your partner.
You will love, cherish, and obey.
Oh, right, yes.
Oh, that. Of course, nowadays, because we live in modern times, and a lot of people are very sensitive to these things, a lot of people leave that out. They don't say obey anymore. But traditionally, in the wedding vows, the promise that you make to each other, love, cherish, and obey. Ooh.
A lot of people that get married now leave that particular vow out of the marriage ceremony, because the implication is that it's the woman that must obey the man. Does the man have to say that same line as well?
It's the same.
Yes, because certainly in the past the implication would be that the woman has to obey the man. So a lot of people leave those vows out now, their wedding vows, which vows are sort of statements that are indicating how the marriage is going to.
Well, it's a promise.
It's a promise, almost rules, almost.
Yes. So you are making a solemn, very honest promise
in the eyes of God, which is what a marriage is. A marriage is a union of two people.
Yes, it is
in
a
the
religious
eyes of God.
It's a religious thing.
That's it.
So when we describe rules, we are stating fixed instructions to follow rules, to obey the rules. So when a person is doing what they are told to do, they follow the rules. It's rather like following a certain direction. So when you are told to do something or how to do it, you have to follow the rules, you obey the rules. And of course, Steve, can you read the bottom line, Steve?
To adhere to the rules laid down.
Yes, adhere. That's a great word. To adhere means to follow or stay with that thing. So we often use the word adhere also to mean stick to something. You stay with that thing. You don't go over there. You don't go over there. You stay there. You are following. You adhere to those rules. The rules laid down.
By laid down, we mean that they're probably written down somewhere. Isn't that correct, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, it's quite interesting. Certainly here in the UK, whenever a new law comes along, it has to be discussed, it has to be talked about, it has to be voted on, and then eventually, if everyone can agree on that thing, it will be laid down in law. It will be written, as Steve just said. So it will be placed in maybe a book or maybe written down. It will become law, and it is laid down. Following in this case means obey. So to follow something is to obey. You follow the rules. Maybe you follow your instructions. You follow what someone says to you. You understand what they say, and then you will act upon what they say. You follow it. Rules are often described as enforced guidelines. So we often talk about guidelines. We are talking about things you follow in a certain way. Quite often, in law, rules are enforced. Again, a very interesting word. To enforce something means to put it forward as something that must be done.
It means that there will be some implication. If something is enforced, it means that there is a threat hanging over you, that if you don't obey the rules, there will be some form of punishment.
Yes.
Are we talking about the difference between rules and laws?
We will be talking about that later.
That's fine, because
In fact,
a lot of rules aren't necessarily enforced by law. For example, don't walk on the grass is a rule you often see in the UK. A sign might be on some grass.
So maybe if you're in the park.
In the park, and it might say, don't walk on the grass, or keep your dog on a lead.
Well, that is law.
These are rules, aren't they? And they may be enforced in different ways.
Yes.
You might say, if you walked on the grass, what is anybody going to do? Are you going to be arrested and put in prison? Well, clearly not.
That's it.
But you might get a park ranger coming out and telling you off. Get off my grass.
He might shout at you and shake his fist.
Yes. And of course, a lot of rules. There are lots of what some people might call petty rules, or lots of rules in society that people follow, like queuing for a bus, which we do a lot of in the UK. And Beatrice has mentioned that in the UK, people tend to follow rules. We do, because it's seen as a way of social coherence.
Well, it keeps everything moving.
It's showing respect for institutions, for different things, and we are quite rules-based in the UK. We have a lot of rules, and people tend to follow them because people in the UK do tend to follow rules.
Yes. Well, I think genuinely it depends how serious they are and what the consequences are. Moving on, Steve.
Yeah.
Enforced rules are normally stated in law. So there we go. We are now at that point. Enforced rules are normally stated in law, as in rules that must be obeyed. And you are right, Steve. There are rules that are made, but most people don't really follow them strictly because the punishment, well, maybe there is no punishment. However, other rules, especially in law, often carry some sort of punishment.
Yes, like not exceeding the speed limit. In a town, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
If you see a 30 mile an hour sign, that's a rule, and that's enforced by law.
Yes.
So there could be severe implications if you speed.
Of course, Steve doesn't have to worry about that because
no.
You always drive your car at the correct speed.
In Wales, by the way, it's 20 miles an hour in towns. They changed the rule on town speed limits in Wales, and it's 20 miles an hour. Whereas in the UK, it's 30 miles an hour. Sometimes it's 20 around a school.
Yeah.
But all over Wales, if it's the town, then it's 20 miles an hour.
Yes, in England, we don't have that rule, but in Wales, they sometimes make their own rules.
They change their rule.
We've got to move on, Steve.
Yeah, I'm just explaining, yeah.
There is a difference between rules and instructions. So this is interesting. There is a difference. There is a difference between rules and instructions, as rules are often strict. Oh, I like that word, Steve. Sometimes Mr. Steve is very strict.
I have to be with Mr. Duncan. You have to be very strict with Mr. Duncan because he can just do whatever he likes sometimes, and you have to be strict.
I'm not that bad.
And I have to enforce certain punishments.
But to be strict means you enforce the rules. You make sure those rules are followed. You are strict. So maybe at school. So everyone at school had a strict teacher. A teacher who would always make sure you were quiet. They would always be very angry if you didn't do your homework. They would always be incredibly aware of all the rules. Strict teacher.
Yes. And you get, as Mr. Duncan has said, there are lots of different rules from very small rules that are hardly enforced, like don't walk on the grass, you might say in a park, you might see that, all the way to don't speed, don't go more than 30 miles an hour. And one walking on the grass in the park you won't get a fine, you won't be arrested. Somebody might come over and tell you off, but they can't really enforce it.
No.
Whereas a speeding ticket is, if you speed, that definitely could be enforced. By the way, Christina said, have I ever received a fine?
Well, as far as I'm aware, Steve, you've never ever broken the rules of the road.
A fine? You mean for speeding? Is that what you're referring to? Well, in the UK, yes. Well, I have. Yes, it's very difficult if you're driving for a living. If your job involves you having to drive a lot, which my job does, I have to drive, so I'm often in the car 8 hours a day. Drive lots of distances in lots of different environments. Some environments I don't know very well. I might not have been to that town before or down that particular road. Then I'm making excuses here. It's very, very difficult to avoid, certainly in the UK. I don't know about other countries. I think France have very strictly enforced speeding limits with cameras, speeding cameras. It's very, very difficult to, unless you're concentrating absolutely 100% of the time, not to avoid getting a speeding ticket at some point. But as long as you don't speed too much in the UK, say you only go, say it's a 30 mile an hour limit and you are caught doing 34, which is what happened to me recently, I will admit this. I got caught doing 34 in a 30 mile an hour limit. But because it wasn't that much over, I wasn't doing 50 or 60.
No.
The rules say that you are allowed to go on what's called a speed awareness course.
Yes.
Which means that you don't get any points on your license, any endorsements on your license.
That's an interesting thing to mention, because we were talking about rules, and of course if you break the rules, quite often you will be punished. So on your driver's license, they will put what they call points on your license.
Yes.
So it's a kind of punishment. And then over time...
And a fine.
Over time, those points will become more and more. So what is the maximum on your license you can have?
Every time you are caught speeding, and for other reasons you might go through a red light, you will get 3 points on your license.
Wow, my goodness. So what's the maximum?
The maximum, you can only get to 12.
Wow.
If you get to 12, your license is taken off you and you can't drive. And some people, for example, have been driving on the motorway and they've managed to get 4 lots of 3 points in one day.
So in one day they just lose their license?
Because they just happen to go through these speeding cameras on the motorway and not notice. And that you can literally lose your license in a day if you're not careful.
Yes.
You've really got to be careful. There's mobile vans out with cameras pointing out at them. It's a lot more. I mean, yes, it's all for safety, because speeding does. If you're speeding, you kill people. We won't go into. We know that speed kills.
Yes.
But what are the implications for breaking these rules? Is that if you get 3 points on your license, then there won't be too many ramifications. There's a good word, ramifications. Too many. What's another word for ramifications?
Well, ramifications or the effects or the outcome.
Yes, not too many deleterious outcomes.
Ramifications. Okay, Steve. He keeps using these long ramifications. I'm just trying to explain it, Steve. Ramifications is the result, normally in a negative sense.
Yes.
So the ramifications is the outcome, or what happens as a result. But quite often,
implications.
Quite often, the negative results.
Yeah. So if you get 3 points, which is the minimum, probably isn't going to affect you. If you get 6 points, you're going to be paying more for your car insurance because you have to declare that in the UK. When you renew your insurance, well, when you get any points, you must tell the insurance company because you are likely to have to pay more insurance.
Okay.
3 points, not much. Once you get 6 or 9, then your insurance is probably going to double. So it does have serious implications. And if you need your license to work, then you could obviously, if you lose your license, you lose your job.
Yes, because well, that's it. That's why it's such a harsh punishment, because you don't just lose your car. You also, if you use your car for your job, you lose your job. You must follow the rules.
Same in Italy, says Christina. Says Vitas. If I had a Ford Mustang, I'd probably get a speeding ticket every day.
Yeah,
exactly. You're absolutely right.
Exactly.
So I won't be doing that.
No. Anyway, at least you've only had that happen once. You've only had to do that driver's course once. Yeah, so in the UK, as long as you weren't really 34 and a 30, say I was doing 65 and a 60. Yes. Well, you go on a course and then you pay to go on the course, and people tell you why you shouldn't speed, but then you don't get any points. But you can only do that every 3 years. So if I get another one now, I'll get points. Anyway, that's very... Spoken enough about that. Lewis, who was, as we know, a taxi driver, never got any points on his licence. So well done to you. That's because he's careful. He's a careful driver. He doesn't put his foot down. He's not a lead foot like you. But there weren't so many cameras around when Lewis was working as a taxi driver. This is it. You know what? There's cameras everywhere now. You know why drivers, every car driver is the worst driver on the road to other drivers. And Steve, you do this quite often. You say, "Look at that guy. Look at how he's driving. What an idiot!" But Steve sometimes also does naughty things on the road. But I think naughty. But I think everyone does. You just have to lose concentration for a few seconds. Yes. Particularly where we live in Shropshire. Shropshire are very hot on catching. This particular camera that I got caught at was around a roundabout. Oh, yes, okay, Steve. And it caught 60,000 people last year. Yeah. 60,000. Who were all going too fast. I was 60,001. Yeah, but they were all going too fast. Yes, but if they were travelling under the speed limit, they wouldn't be caught. Thank you, Beatrice. Beatrice has been in a car with me when I've been driving, and she says that I'm a careful driver. I know, but eventually you run out of luck. Steve has a car. It's the only car I've ever seen with vomit bags in the back seat. Thanks a lot. Right, sorry, Mr. Duncan, I'll let you carry on. We've got to carry on because we are desperately running out of time. You might follow the rules, but you might not always follow instructions. Instructions, it's an interesting word actually, because instructions are not necessarily rules that you have to follow. So they might be seen as things that are recommendations, or maybe do it like this. This is the instruction. So maybe later when Mr. Steve is trying to put his new chair together, he will try to assemble the chair. He will try to use the instructions, or maybe in my case, I never bother. I never bother with instructions or manuals or anything. I just like to find out on my own. It's always a very pleasant surprise. Here we go, Steve. Cooking instructions. So here are some examples, Steve, of instructions. Cooking instructions. So we don't always follow them, do we? Cooking instructions, yes. But you would say that there were certain rules to cooking, wouldn't you? Yes, but if you're given instructions how to cook something, quite often people will like to do their own thing. So they say that's what I have to do, but I want to add a little bit extra garlic, or maybe I want to use tomatoes instead of leeks. So there are many things. So you don't actually have to follow the rules. The police won't come to your house and kick your door down and say, "We have reason to believe you've been using tomatoes in your stew instead of leeks. We have to take you away." It hasn't been enforced here yet. It might, of course, in the crazy world we are living. So many people don't really follow instructions. Quite often on the side of baked beans, what does it always say on the side of baked beans, Steve? It always says it.
On the side of baked beans?
It says, "Do not boil."
Oh, right. They say that with soup in cans, don't they?
Do not boil.
Because you lose the flavour.
But quite often you do. You leave the soup or the beans.
Well, you do, Mr. Duncan.
I think a lot of people do.
Mr. Duncan puts the beans on and then goes back into his studio to do something for the next lesson, and I can smell burning beans.
I can't help being a busy man. I have to keep my audience happy. And if the price to pay is a few burnt baked beans, then so be it. That's all I can say.
Tasteless beans that have been burnt. Never mind.
Thank you.
So these are instructions. They're not rules, are they, as such?
That's it. They're sort of instructions you follow. You know, do this, do that. But they're not really what I would call rules. Maybe you have assembly instructions for putting something together, like I mentioned with Mr. Steve's chair.
The assembly instructions.
There, you can,
says that on there.
Wow, there they are.
Assembly instructions. Can you read that?
No.
It says assembly instructions on the top.
So the instructions, you have to follow those, but a lot of people don't bother. I don't bother. That's what it's supposed to look like. So when Mr. Steve has assembled the chair, his new chair, that I bought for his birthday, that is how it's supposed to look. The rules of law, of course, we mentioned this earlier. Rules of law. These laws are laid down, as we said. They are normally put forward. The members of Parliament will pass those laws, and then they will become part of the laws of this country. And I suppose in many other countries it's very, very similar. So these laws are often laid down. Certain rules are laid down in law, such as, and here we go, Steve. Are you ready? We're going to test you in a moment.
Rules of the road, yes.
We are going to test.
There's a broad breadth of rules from the smallest things that are barely enforceable, but they want you to adhere to because it will, like, don't walk on the grass, things like that. Don't let your dog poo in the street.
Yes.
Sort of rules which are, I mean, there are fines for
that is
if you're
the law.
Caught.
Yes, that's the law.
But some rules, there's no real punishment for it. It's just there to try and help society be better.
Yes.
And then there's the rules where you could go to prison if you break them.
So serious rules that you could be punished for. Certain rules are laid down, such as rules of the road. Social rules. So I suppose in a way anything that allows society to exist in a pleasant, smooth way. Social.
Yes, can I mention, there's always there's another term called unwritten rules, which you might be coming on to. Unwritten rules, which are quite a lot of those are social rules, the way people behave to each other in society. Not shouting at people. An unwritten rule could be somebody playing loud music in their car at traffic lights.
Yes.
It's almost like an unwritten rule is you don't upset people deliberately. If you're playing loud music in a car, you might say, you might complain, and someone might say, well, I can play loud music if I want to in my car.
But there is a law against that.
Yeah, but you might say, well, I don't think there is actually.
No, disturbing the peace.
Yeah, but I'm not sure in a car.
Oh, I see.
That would count.
Okay.
And you might, but it's almost like an unwritten rule. You don't deliberately upset people. And you could say, well, it's an unwritten rule. You don't deliberately upset people. You don't go. Yeah, like if you're in a queue, if you're trying to get a drink in a pub, and there's a lot of people all standing around the bar. There's bar people, bar staff, trying to work out who's the next one. If there's somebody else near you, you were there first, but the barman or the bar lady asks the person next to you, what do they want to drink? And sort of an unwritten rule would be, to say, this person was before me, and that's sort of following a social rule. It's almost, you wouldn't deliberately jump the queue, because I think, I was here first. That's not fair. He knew I was here first, but he deliberately leapt in front.
So,
anyway,
so these rules are unwritten, but they form part of that general
social rules.
Yeah, social way of acting and behaving. Laws of the road include oh dear, speed limits. Mr. Steve, I am looking at you when I say that word. Speed limits. Going too fast on the road.
Well, I know the limits. It's just sometimes you're not concentrating.
Mr. Steve does know the limits.
It is a lack of concentration which normally causes you to speed on the rules. You're thinking about something else. You're distracted.
We are all let down
by your modern infotainment system, which requires you to prod onto screens. There could be somebody travelling in the car with you.
Yes.
That's jabbering away. Talking. And distracts you. I blamed my mother once. I got a speeding ticket.
Your mum, bless her.
She can't speak back now.
Your mum used to. Steve would drive, or he's trying to find directions to get somewhere, and Steve's mother would be in the back of the car or next to Steve if I wasn't there, and she would just be talking all the time, never ever stopping, or asking questions, talking, and that can be distracting. I'm sure did you once get a speeding fine because of your mum?
I blame my mother. It was my fault. Ultimately, of course, it is the driver's fault.
Yes.
But my mother was talking and talking a lot in the car. So I was taking her back home.
You didn't write back to the police and say, hello, thank you very much for telling me that I broke the speeding rules, but can I just blame my mother for it?
I was distracted by a question my mother asked me, and the speed limit had gone down to 30 miles an hour, and I didn't see the sign. I'm blaming my mother. It's awful. I shouldn't be doing that.
No.
I should have said, Mother, we're in a 30 mile an hour limit. We're approaching. I will answer your question later.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or something like that.
I'm sort of joking, but yes. What's this test, by the way, Mr. Duncan?
So there are road signs, and we talk about rules of general behaviour on the road, and of course road fitness. Now that's an interesting one, because of course you have road fitness.
Fitness?
Road fitness, yes.
You mean fitness to drive?
Well, and the car.
Oh, right, that's okay.
So it covers everything. The person driving the car has to be able to control the car. So maybe if they have bad eyesight, or maybe they only have one arm, or maybe they've been drinking too much alcohol, and now they are not fit to drive because they can't control the car. And of course the car itself must also be able to operate and function. So now I'm going to test Mr. Steve on rules of the road.
Well, I should be able to answer this, having only last week been on a driving awareness course.
Yes.
Which I took in lieu of getting points on my licence.
Yeah. So
in lieu of.
So the choice is...
There's a good phrase. If you do something in lieu of, you do it instead of. That's right, isn't it?
Yes. In
So-
lieu means you are replacing one thing with another thing.
So I went on a speeding awareness course in lieu, LEU, of getting points on my licence. So I could have accepted the points on my licence. Nobody does, because you can go on the speeding awareness course. You still have to pay the fine,
Yeah.
which was £80.
Steve,
You don't get the points.
You've already told us all this.
In lieu, I didn't. Well, using the phrase "in lieu of,"
I think-
not in LOO, going to the loo. In lieu of, LEU.
or LOU, like Louis. So,
Right. I think it's
Steve,
LEU, isn't it?
Steve,
Yeah.
for the love of all
So
things.
you're going to test me now? Okay.
Yes,
Let's see if I can.
You're testing me today.
It's my birthday. I can say and do whatever I want,
It
Mr.
is.
Duncan. Don't forget.
I have to be careful. with this.
Birthday boy here.
Okay. Birthday boy. Now there is something. Steve, here we go. A road sign. What does it mean?
That means in the UK, no entry.
That's it. Just assume it's the UK because that's where we live. So the road sign for that, if you see that on the road in the UK, what does that mean?
No entry. It means you can't go up that particular road or street.
I've got a pair of underpants with that on. So road signs.
No entry. Don't go up here in your car.
Yeah, I'm putting it on the screen, Steve. So no entry. It means quite often you will see this in front of a building, maybe a place that has a car park, or maybe a place that is private and you can't go in there. You will often see this particular sign quite in many places, but quite often on the highway. It is saying that you can't go that way. That it's no entry.
Quite often up a one-way street.
Yes. Here's another one, Steve. So look at the screen. Oh, this is a good one. This is one you see quite often on main roads. So you will often see this on main roads, and quite often when you come from a smaller road and you go onto a larger road, you will often see this. Is that true, Steve?
This is the national speed limit sign.
Yes.
What is called the national speed limit sign. So the national speed limit depends on what road you're on. If it's a motorway, it's 70 miles an hour. Any other road, it's 60 miles an hour. But it also depends on what vehicle you're driving. So if you're driving a car,
Yes.
it's 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour on a motorway,
Yes.
or a dual carriageway,
Yeah.
or 60 miles an hour.
So
if
this
it's
is
otherwise.
You will often see this on main roads where the speed limit might also suddenly change. So there might be a low speed limit and then suddenly you'll see that sign and it's telling you now you can travel at the national speed limit. And
Yes.
as Steve just said, 60 miles an hour on smaller roads and 70 miles an hour on motorways, and or in Mr. Steve's case, just anything you feel like.
Well, when you're younger, you see that sign in the UK and you just think, I can go as fast as I like now.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the as fast as I like sign
Yes,
when you were younger.
yes,
But now when you're too worried about getting points on your licence, of course, if the conditions are safe to do so, it's always national speed limit if it's safe to do so.
yeah.
You know, if it's pouring down with rain or there's snow on the ground,
It's not telling you
you
to
wouldn't
drive.
be going. It's
Yeah.
telling you can go that speed if it's safe to do so.
It's not telling you must go at that speed.
No, although actually you can be fined in the UK if you go too far under the speed limit, particularly on a motorway.
I think that's rare.
So the national speed limit is 70 on a motorway, but if you go 50 miles an hour on a motorway, you will be pulled over by the police and probably get a fine,
Yeah.
because it's extremely dangerous to be going 50 miles an hour on a motorway.
I have to say, Steve, I'm surprised at this sign because I always think this sign looks very ambiguous. It doesn't look like a sign that really stands out. So I'm always surprised by that sign, that how it just doesn't look very striking or something that would really get your attention. In fact, I would imagine you could probably miss it from.
No, nobody misses that, Mr. Duncan.
No, says Mr. Steve. Okay, here's another one. Okay, so this one, as Steve said, it is the national speed limit. So the national speed limit, if you see that sign, it says, okay, you can go at the national speed limit now. Or in Steve's case, just put your foot down. Here's another one, Steve. This might be Mr. Steve having an idea, or it means something else, doesn't it, Steve?
So if you see a sign in the UK that's got red around it, you really have to pay attention to that.
Yes.
And that is indicating that there is a danger, I think, ahead.
Yes.
That is just telling you there's some danger ahead. We're not sure what that danger could be. There may be other signs to tell you otherwise, but a big exclamation mark. Ah, look! What?
Yeah.
Look out!
See that I like that one because it's very clear. It's not. There's nothing that you can't misunderstand that. It's literally a giant exclamation mark. And as Steve said, quite often we describe this as a hazard sign. So hazard, and I think I'm sure I've spelt hazard wrong. I've only put one Z. So we will move on.
Yes, it could be anything. It could be a junction where there've been accidents before. The road could be narrowing.
Yes.
It could be a nasty bend ahead.
Yes.
Just a hazard ahead.
Yes. Here's another one, Steve. Are you ready? Here it comes. Now this might be a representation of how Steve normally drives. So this is not telling you that you have to drive like this, even though quite often Steve does drive like this. Quite often he can get the car. Steve can actually get his car on two wheels as he goes around corners. It's amazing. Very, very James Bond.
Yes, Christina, that means a slippery road. So if it's a triangle with red around it, that's a warning sign. It's telling you that the road, in certain conditions, could be slippery. The camber of the road might be the camber. That means the way the road slopes. And if it's wet, it might mean that your car could slip.
Yes.
So it's telling you to slow down, basically.
So for Mr. Steve, this is what they told him when he went on this course. They said, Steve, we've got to tell you now, that does not mean just drive however you want. That means don't drive too erratically because you might slip.
It's always people who don't drive that criticise the most.
See, you're wrong because I used to have a motorbike.
I know, but that's not really the same as being in a car.
It's much harder to ride a motorbike than a car. Trust me, it's much harder. So road signs. Is Mr. Steve correct though? Slippery surface.
Christina
yes.
was right.
Well done. Slippery road.
A lot of the signs in the UK are very obvious.
Yes. So that's quite a good one because it's showing the car almost losing control and skidding around. Here's another one, Steve. So this is an interesting one.
Now that's an interesting one. You don't see that one very often. It's not is it no overtaking? It could be no overtaking, or it could be. Right, that's an interesting one. It's a circle. I'm not sure what a circle with a red means. It's an instruction, I think. I think it means no overtaking, or is it two-way traffic?
Ooh.
I'm going for no overtaking. Any other takers? Yeah, Vitas thinks it can't overtake. But normally, you would see on a road, you would see a double white line on the road in the UK, which means no overtaking.
Yeah. So if there's a solid double white line, it means you can't go over onto the other side of the road.
I think it definitely means don't have two cars. Don't be in that position.
Yes.
What is it, Mr. Duncan?
Okay, here we go. I will put Mr. Steve out of his mystery.
Oh, it is no overtaking, right?
No overtaking.
Okay.
Yeah. So the red car is the one. I think it's the one doing the wrong thing. Is the red car, and the black car is the one that's being overtaken. Now I have a slight problem with that because it's the wrong way round.
Yeah, because in the UK you overtake by going to the right.
Yes.
I think maybe it means you shouldn't undertake.
Yes.
Because in the UK we're not allowed to, if you're on a motorway or a dual carriageway, you mustn't go undertake someone, which in the UK means overtake on the left-hand side.
Yes.
Which in most of Europe it would mean going on overtaking somebody on the right-hand side.
Yes.
So we're not allowed to do that in the UK.
Yes.
In America, doesn't matter where you overtake somebody.
So what I was going to say there as well is this could be the international one for countries where they drive the opposite way round, and it has been pointed out already that many of these are international road signs.
We invented them. I'm only
Yes.
joking.
Well, I think we did. I think we were the ones who started driving on the left-hand side of the road, and that's why many countries around the world do that. But of course, there are some very awkward people who want to drive the opposite way. But we don't mind. We love it. It makes the world go round. So there are quite a few.
There's lots of signs. We could be here all day, Mr. Duncan.
We could.
Maybe we could do an entire live stream
Yes.
just on rules of the road.
Yes, we almost are.
We almost are. Would you like that, or would that bore you to tears? We always say if somebody's really, really bored, you bore them to tears. They're so bored they cry.
Oh, well, yes.
I'm bored to tears. I'm so bored I could cry.
It's figurative.
It's figurative.
You're not literally crying. Steve, rules are often created to keep us safe. That's why they're there for. That's why all those lovely little signs are on the side of the road. In this case, instructions will often be given. So you can see here there is a definite difference when we are talking about rules and instructions. However, quite often, important rules will also have a certain set of instructions that you must follow. So I always think the word instructions is quite a fluid word. So things you must follow and things that would be helpful if you followed that particular method or process. Here we go. Oh, here we go, Steve. For example, Steve, look at this. Look at that. Now, this is something I would never let Mr. Steve have. For two reasons. Well, actually, for one reason. I just don't think Mr. Steve would have his limbs for very long. He would lose at least one arm, maybe a leg, if he had one of these. A chainsaw.
We do know if you talk to nurses or people that run accident and emergency clinics or units at hospitals, that when it comes to weekends or holiday times or bank holidays, they get lots and lots of people going in with injuries that they've sustained at home through DIY, do it yourself, and gardening accidents.
Like you said today at the start of today's chat. You said sometimes people will have accidents in the garden because they're not being safe. They're not following those safety rules. So, for example, safety rules using power tools. You know the sort of thing I mean. Chainsaws. It's horrible when they don't start, isn't it? There we go. It's working now. Just normally a couple of pulls That's all it takes, isn't it, Steve?
I don't know. I've never used one.
Chainsaw. I've never used one either.
I'm a bit frightened of them. I don't think I would need to be. You've got to be careful when you use it because it can bounce, can't it? And then you've got to wear all the protective gear.
Yes.
You need to know what you're doing. I think it's probably not difficult. You just need to know some basic rules on how to use something like that before.
The basic rules: do not under any circumstances chop any of your limbs off, because they do not grow back.
Fingers. People lose fingers, don't they? In gardening accidents, they put a fork through their feet. I mean, something like a chainsaw. I mean, if you're using a hedge trimmer, probably the most damage you could do would be maybe you could lose a finger if you were very difficult.
It's not so bad.
If you were very careless.
Yeah.
But if you were to be careless when using something like a chainsaw, then you could lose a limb. You could kill yourself.
Yes, the only limbs.
It'd be difficult to kill yourself with
not the
hedge
limbs,
trimmer.
Not the limbs on the tree, but the limbs on your body. Here's another one. Another one, Steve. Safety rules regarding electricity. Electricity, yes. We often think of rules. Safety rules concerning electricity. Before you do any electrical work in your house, what must you do, Mr. Steve?
Wear rubber gloves. Yes, to take the fuse out or turn off that particular circuit before you. And it's very easy to forget. I mean, I have nearly forgotten to do things, simple things like that. You must never rush jobs that could have safety implications. It's all right to rush. Whenever you rush anything, have you noticed if you're going to do something and you rush, you often make mistakes, and those mistakes could lead to injuries. If you're, for example, I've cut myself, I need to get a meal on chopping onions or carrots, and you just try to do it a bit quicker than you normally would, and suddenly you get a cut. It's normally when you're rushing is when you get injuries. That's what I find. It's normally when you're rushing in the car that you're more likely to get a speeding offence, or to take a risk and go through a light when it's just changing to red.
You got it, Steve? So electricity, safety rules concerning electricity. You will be surprised, or maybe not surprised, how many people are seriously injured every year because of electricity. Various things. I always remember in China, when I lived in China, they used to, quite often in the classrooms in my school, they wouldn't put a plug on the electricity cable for the television. They would just push the wires. I'm not joking. They would just push the wires into the socket, and that's it. And sometimes, as they did it, you would get a little crackle or spark from the electricity.
Well, this is the thing. Different countries have different rules regarding health and safety. Health and safety rules are very different in different countries, and different societies in different countries are often seen as, for example, Germany. From our point of view, German people are seen as people who are very rule sticklers. They really stick to the rules, and they don't break rules. And they're very proud that they don't. The trains are always on time, and they wouldn't dare to break certain social rules.
Okay. So
Germans that's how we view Germans, as very upright. They like to follow the rules. Not saying that's good or bad.
No.
In this country, we'd like to follow the rules, yes, but there is always certain people in society that won't.
Yes. Well, they're often called idiots.
But it is different, isn't it, from one country to the other? The way
People who don't follow the rules, especially with things that are obviously dangerous, like electricity. Sometimes people do stupid things with electricity and they pay the price, unfortunately. We've got to move on, Steve.
Yep, we have, because it's my birthday. I don't want to be here all day, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, okay.
When you're
That's
joking.
nice.
I'm joking.
Steve, another one. General safety rules. Now, this is interesting because it would appear to be something that's obvious, but it is something that covers lots of things. There might be places, situations where safety is very, very important. For example, maybe a building site. You might be surprised, Steve, to find out how many people are seriously injured or die every year on building sites. Apparently, it's one of the virtually the most dangerous place to be.
Yes.
Besides on the road.
Where was the last Olympic Games? That was in the United Arab Emirates, was it? Where was the last Olympic Games? It was only last year, wasn't it? I think it was United Arab Emirates, I think.
I don't think it was. That was football.
Was it?
Yeah.
Dubai. I can't remember where it was. It was a country in that region.
The next one's in LA.
And hundreds or many people died constructing that the Olympic Stadium wherever they held the Olympics.
It wasn't the Olympics. It was the football.
Football, okay. Well, they built a stadium, didn't they? And lots of people died building it because health and safety rules in that country were not as strict as they would be in other countries.
Yes.
Whereas even one death would have been taken very, very seriously.
So
indeed.
my point is, even in this country, lots of people die every year doing their little jobs around the house. You know the most common one, Steve?
In the house?
No, the most common accident when doing DIY or
is it going up ladders?
Ladders.
That's
the biggie. Ladders.
Going up ladders. Yeah, that is the one thing. I never like to go on a ladder above my own height. I start to feel very uneasy because if you fall off that ladder, it's going to be very, very serious.
Yes.
I would rather pay somebody to come and do that job that requires me. Like your guttering gets full of moss.
Yeah, the most common was painting. Or putting up your Christmas lights.
Even though you did paint the entirety of the outside of our house when we first moved here on ladders.
It was no problem.
I felt very... going up ladders, that's the one thing I won't do.
It doesn't bother me. Not one bit. So general safety rules, the obvious things, a lot of people every year do fall off ladders. You have to be very careful. To go against the rules, Steve, is to break the rules. And as we've found out today, a certain person on today's live stream quite often breaks the rules.
But not intentionally.
He is severely punished.
You can unintentionally break the rules, which means you don't do it deliberately, or you can intentionally break the rules. So if I had gone deliberately at 34 miles an hour in that 30 mile an hour limit, I would have intentionally broken the rules. But I did it unintentionally, and I didn't deliberately do it knowing I was doing it.
We understand that, Steve.
I'm just explaining
it was a moment.
Two different words there.
It was a moment of time. Can I just point out, because I know, see, this is why saying things on a live stream, you have to be careful. It wasn't Paris. So we weren't saying that lots of people died constructing the Paris Olympic Games. So Steve was confusing that with Qatar, which of course was the World Cup.
World Cup.
That's it. So not Paris.
Yeah.
So we're not doing any.
I was the right area of the world, but the wrong sporting event.
Yes. So you mean Paris instead of the Middle East? Yes.
Instead of we call it the Middle East. Countries.
Yes, because they are quite close to each other.
So Qatar then, is where they have
anyway,
the World
Steve,
Cup.
we've got to move on because to be honest, I am thirsty. I am hungry. I want some chocolate. And of course, Mr. Steve needs his birthday treat today because it is Mr. Steve's birthday.
Yes, I want to be waited on hand and foot.
Yes, we will see what happens. Why do we have rules, Mr. Steve? Why? Steve, I'm going to ask you this question. Now, this is a serious question. We will end on this note. Steve, why do we have rules?
A lot of it's to do with safety. A lot of it is to do with making sure that society just runs efficiently and well.
Would you say there are some rules that we don't really need, but they do exist? If you could remove one rule, just one, what would it be, Steve?
I don't know, but without rules there would be chaos in society, wouldn't there? One rule, I don't know, I'm just trying to think, is there a rule that I would remove? Oh, yes, I tell you what rule I would remove. And it's a sort of a rule that the UK government signed up to many years ago to ban all petrol and diesel cars by 2035.
Yes.
That is a rule that is enforced currently by law. I'm hoping that somebody will very sensibly repeal that law. If you repeal a law, it means you reverse it. You say it's no longer a law. Somebody looks at it and says, the government will look at it and say, we're repealing that law. It's a stupid law. We're going to throw it away.
That's a good word, by the way. Repeal.
Repeal.
So you put a law into place, but also you can repeal the law, which means to take it away. You relax that particular
If somebody has
rule.
been sentenced in a court to life imprisonment for something,
Yes.
you can repeal that sentence if it's been discovered that they were given that sentence and they were not guilty or something. Yeah, repeal a law, it just means to reverse it.
That's it. Normally you take it out of the rule book or the laws
Yes.
of the land.
Yes, Christina, without rules we would live in chaos, that's right. But sometimes rules become very petty
Yes.
and very silly
That's it.
when they're broken down into very, very silly rules.
Yes. We often talk about this if you are trying to do something concerning the government, where maybe you are trying to get some help, or maybe you need some advice from the government, or maybe you have to follow certain rules. And sometimes it can be very complicated. There are many rules that you must follow and stay with.
There are rules
So quite often we describe that as red tape. So sometimes the rules are designed to actually slow everyone down, to stop people from wanting to do things. It's very strange, isn't it?
The extreme in extreme conditions. It's, for example, in certain parts of certain villages, posh villages or streets, streets in
Posh
London,
streets.
or in certain places in certain towns, the residents of that just particular street or small area will get together and have a committee and form their own rules about how they think people should behave in their street. So they might say you must cut your grass every Sunday. All the people living in this street must adhere to these rules. You must cut your grass every Sunday. You must not have a caravan parked on your drive. You must. Sometimes the rules, these are silly rules sometimes, that those particular residents want to stick to. They're not enforced by laws, but you can have this.
Yes. So if there was a rule that you could introduce, Steve, that doesn't exist.
That's very easy. Ban all SUVs from the road.
Oh, I see. The big ones.
I would ban the sale of all sport utility vehicles from the road. I would not allow them to be made, manufactured, sold or used in any way unless you're a farmer.
Yeah. Hasn't your brother-in-law just bought one?
Because they're ridiculously heavy. Nobody needs an SUV. And all the benefits from efficiency that have been made to engines over the last 20 or 30 years have been completely wiped out by the fact that cars have got heavier and heavier and heavier, and SUVs are the worst examples of that.
Steve,
so that would be my rule.
What's the rule again? I've forgotten. You've been talking for so long.
Ban SUVs from the road.
Special utility vehicles.
They're like nuclear weapons. Once one person's got them, you only feel safe if you have one as well.
Yes.
And it must be stopped. Banned instantly. That's the first thing I would do if I was in power. Ban them. Or what I would do is I would impose what they are actually going to do in France. By the way,
yes,
getting very passionate now. In order to, they're not banning SUVs; they are taxing them so heavily that only the most richest people could ever afford to have them.
Yes.
And I think that's a very good rule, and I applaud France for doing it.
So when we are in Paris in June, we will have to look. We will see how many SUV vehicles we see.
Because if you get hit by, if you're driving, say you're driving a small French car like a Renault 5, and you get hit by somebody in a giant Range Rover, they're going to kill you. If they make a mistake and hit you, they'll be all right, but they'll kill you. So I would ban them. Ban them, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
Now that's something I'm passionate about.
What I find interesting today is we've managed to offend not only your sister but also your brother-in-law as well. So we've managed to offend both of them in one way or another. And the other thing
that's my role.
I really wish I had started today's live stream with that question, because that is the most animated and lively I've ever seen Mr. Steve ever.
Krateba, sorry you're late. You can watch it all again because it will be available. By the way, don't forget to like Mr. Duncan's stream. Please like Mr. Duncan's stream.
Yes.
Really helps Mr. Duncan's channel. Like.
Yes.
Even if you don't like it,
give us a like.
Anyway.
Even if you don't like it.
Yeah, just like it anyway, and just think, well, I don't like it, but somebody else might. And if you like it, it helps Mr. Duncan's channel to be seen by more people.
Yes. So if you like it, please give me a like, and don't forget to click subscribe as well. Then you will find all of my YouTube lessons and all of my live streams. So you can watch this again later on. Why you would want to do that?
Yeah, no, watch it again. Don't say that, Mr. Duncan. It's entertaining. Hope you can learn all. The only way to learn is to keep repeating things, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Repetition
is
what gets it set up here in your brain.
It's the best way to learn.
It's like driving.
Repeat.
Eventually, it goes into your subconscious. You don't have to think about it. It's less effort.
Yeah.
The words come out. Happy days.
Yes.
Talking of happy days.
Happy days.
It's getting dark and it's my birthday, Mr. Duncan.
It's Mr. Steve's birthday today. Happy birthday. Have you enjoyed your birthday so far, Steve?
I have. By the way, Olga, if you're still on Olga, Olga said that her age was the opposite of mine if you turn the numbers around.
Oh.
So you're saying you're 64 because I'm actually 46. So you're saying you're actually 64. Well, happy days.
Happy days. Is that today's catchphrase?
I'm joking.
Happy days. That's it. Every week now, Mr. Steve will end with happy days.
Happy days.
Happy
That's what
days.
we say.
The happy days are here again.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's wished me a happy birthday. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. I should be 2 pounds heavier from all the chocolate. But I'll be more comfortable sitting on my nice new office chair.
Yeah, I have bought a lovely office chair for Mr. Steve.
We know.
And so this afternoon he will be putting it together, hopefully, in the right way. And we will see what happens. I am back on Wednesday, so I will see you on Wednesday. And Mr. Steve will be back next Sunday. So thank you, Steve.
Lovely to be here. Enjoy learning English on Mr. Duncan's channel this week, and see you all next Sunday.
There he was. That was Mr. Steve. Give us a big birthday wave. I'm not sure what that was. He did have his legs in the air as well. I don't know why. Mr. Steve will be back next week. Thank you very much for your company today. It's been a very busy one, I have to say. I really do feel as if I need a lie down on the floor. Thank you very much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson, live lesson, of course. And I will be back with you on Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time. There will be some new lessons as well, new video lessons. And of course, we are back next Sunday. Thank you for your company. I have been on longer today by 20 minutes. You got an extra 20 minutes of me. Was it good for you? In the words of Mr. Steve, happy days. Thank you for watching. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of the English language, saying thank you very much for joining me. See you later. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. As I prepare to help Mr. Steve with his birthday and his celebrations, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Whatever you are doing, have a lovely, lovely time. And of course, ta-ta for now. See you on Wednesday.